I'm really here because I'm a friend of Heather's. I have been a friend of Heather's for 72 years. I have known Heather longer than anybody else in the world. And I'm so proud to be here today for this event. I've heard her talk about the Malawi-Scotland partnership and her anxieties about it and her work at it. So it's a lovely thing to be here, despite the snow. Heather and I were both brownies. We were good wee girls. You quite often meet people who with great pride say to you, I was drummed out the brownies, which means that they were of great independent mind. Heather and I were not. We were girls who promised that we would do our best to help other people. And we have. We have. My wee mum used to say that the Church of Scotland was made up of toffee balls. Toffee balls. A bit, Tracy, like your group, made up of women who made the toffee balls to sell at the Christmas fair. Well, I think that there is a great deal in fundraising that's related to toffee balls. Of course, you can apply for grants, and I have done. There was an event in Glasgow just after I became County Commissioner when a double-decker bus hit a low bridge and 3 girls and 2 leaders were killed. The people from that area of Glasgow, they asked me if they could put up a memorial building, and I wrote to the lawyers in Glasgow, many of whom I knew, or they had trustees on their board who knew me. And I said that we wanted to do this. The West Street bus accident was still in their mind. And the money just came in. I've never actually been as successful again, but I know that there is money in grants. There's a huge directory of grant-giving trusts, which if you're doing it at a small scale and you haven't got a professional fundraiser, really your heart sinks. I am working at the moment for a small community charity, and we can't afford to have a fundraiser. But we have somebody to whom we pay an honorarium. And she has brought in far more money than we could possibly have got in any other way, because you're absolutely right, Steve. She tells the story. She makes the connection with what we do in the Children's Wood, and she uses the photographs, and she does it just beautifully. So I suggest to you, even if you're just a small group, there might be somebody in your community who has professional experience, and it's worth asking them if they will just look at your application. And I thought I was quite good at writing applications, but she told me that I wasn't. And if there is a connection with the charity, if you know somebody who's a trustee, it's quite a help. I wrote recently for the Children's Wood, which is a very small charity. I wrote to Greg's Foundation. In this letter I said to them, my brother, this is perfectly true, my late brother was the managing director of Greg's in Scotland, and he never gave me so much as a biscuit. And I think it's time. Well, Greg's have given us 25,000, not just last year, but this year as well. And the other thing, Stuart, thank you. Yes, the way that we do it in the Children's Wood is we send reports. We inundate them with photographs of children playing in mud, because that's what it's about. The Children's Wood is about children playing outside. Well, also in my GirlGuiding life, I have raised quite a bit of money, or been involved in raising, and Tracy, I saw daffodil teas. Daffodil teas. You can get somebody, a florist in your area, to let you buy a box of daffodils. They come with their rubber bands on them, and if you're really nice to that florist, they might just let you have them. And I would suggest that daffodils are really easy. You can sell them for £1 a bunch, and people always like a daffodil. I'm not so sure about the whole baking and the afternoon tea, that's a lot of work. I suggest that you do what Emperor City Chambers has done, namely that you get some soup. In March, when the daffodils are out, we want a plate of soup or a mug of soup. Make it easy for yourself. And yes, of course, exactly what you said. Link it to the cause. In our case, it's children. We want urban children to get outside and play in nature. I am friendly with Julia Donaldson of Gruffalo fame. Now, I thought Julia had a foundation, and I looked and didn't find it. But what she does have is she has a lot, she's patron to a lot of literacy charities. And she's got some absolutely splendid ideas. So we are about children. Children need to learn to read. I would suggest that going on to, just put in Julia Donaldson and up come her trusts, and get some ideas about children being sponsored to read. The local primary will like it as well. And you can get enough sponsoring. Sponsoring is really still a very useful way of getting money. I think, I was with GirlGuiding friends yesterday and I said, when did we knit those squares? And one of them said, I think it was the end of the 1960s or the beginning of the 1970s. And little girls in Glasgow were sponsored to knit a square. Well, I didn't understand it at all. What do you mean? Knit a square and then get your granny to pay money? But it does work, doesn't it? And all over Glasgow, little girls knitted squares. And we got a whole lot of money and a whole lot of wonky squares. In the children's group, we had a toddler dash. That was such fun. We put them in children's wood bibs and we set them off to about the end of the room and hoped that they would keep going in the same direction. There are lots and lots of runs on, and you can get somebody in your group, in your community, to be sponsored for a run. Another thing that we do, and I think this was mentioned, and that was bringing together the people that have worked together. I was involved in GirlGuiding Scotland and had a Scottish appointment. Well, if you have a Scottish appointment, you don't see the other people very often. So we set up Friends of GirlGuiding Scotland. In order to be a member, you pay £25 a year. No big deal. Set it up as a direct debit and forget about it. Twice a year, we have Friends of GirlGuiding Scotland events. We have one in the autumn and one in the spring, and the afternoon tea and the lunch. And we charge just a bit more for the lunch and the afternoon tea than it actually costs. And we use that lovely centre in Lithgow or a hotel. And we put on the tables an envelope and we invite people to put their name on the envelope. And that the note that they put inside the envelope should be quite generous. And we've got a raffle and it works beautifully. I am a member of the Olave Baden Pole Society, and this is probably not so relevant to you. This is money being raised for the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. You really need a princess. If you've got a handy princess, it's really good. This is international donors. They come from all over the world to a country, a different country each year, and they're given, of course, a badge. We're girl guides after all, so we give them a badge. And my friend said to me, don't lose it, Alison, it's the most expensive badge you'll ever have in your life, because they start at 6,000. And you get another badge if you go to 10. And you get another one at 15 and 25 and above. And we have Princess Benedicta of Denmark, who presents these badges, and she looks like a princess, and the Americans say she's awesome. I will finish with legacies. I have spoken about legacies often. I have said to an older range of audience than this, you do go off your grandchildren, don't you? By the time they're in their teens, you think to yourself, they're not the nice, sweet children they used to be. And so a legacy to Malawi, rather than giving back, and the great joy about legacies is you can be so generous and they're not a pound putter.